Huge Week 11 matchup this weekend. Bama is traveling to Baton Rouge to take on the Bayou Bengals. And it's Saturday night in Death Valley. Man, it doesn't get any bigger than this. This rivalry over the past 15, 20 years has been awesome. I expect nothing different this weekend. Both teams are relatively evenly matched. And I think they both have kind of similar strengths and weaknesses here. So I think this will be a really awesome game. And Josh Pate won't say it. He's not ready to go there. But this is an elimination game, especially for Alabama. Alabama has 2 losses, both SEC losses. If they have a third SEC loss, they're not going to make the playoffs, and they certainly won't compete in the SEC championship game. LSU has 2 losses, but one of them is out of conference, so they still have even if they do lose, they have a slight slimmer of hope because they have 2 losses in the SEC, and maybe if things go their way, they'll get to the SEC title. But it's going to be very hard for both of these teams if they do lose to go anywhere this year in terms of anything of a postseason. What's been going on with these teams? Like LSU and Bama have both been very up and down this year. They haven't really found a rhythm of where they would really like to be. They've shown really good glimpses of excellence. They've also shown areas of vulnerability, and they have been very disappointing in a lot of areas. The Bama secondary and the Bama defense overall has not been what it has used to be over the past few years. The defense has been their staple over the past years under Saban, and it hasn't been that this year. Their secondary have been letting guys get open, and people can expose you, especially a quarterback like Garrett Nussmeier. Now, LSU doesn't have the receivers that it once had in terms of like Jamar Chase and, that era, or even last year with Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. But Kyron Lacy is still a really solid receiver, and I do expect him and the rest of the receiving core to get open and really take advantage of this Alabama defense. And the offensive line for LSU has been fantastic, especially in the pass game. Now, the run game is a little bit of a different story, but an edge for LSU here is if they can really establish a little bit of a run game, just a run game where it could be just a little bit threatening, they'll be able to open up that pass game and take advantage of that Bama secondary with Garrett Nussmeier being able to sling it around, with Kyron Lacy being able to get open. So I think they'd have a little bit of an edge there. But on the flip side, what do we see with LSU and Texas A&M? Texas A&M threw out Marcel Reed there after being down, and he tore up that LSU defense. And Brian Kelly after the game says, hey, if you want to beat us, run your quarterback. And what is Jalen Milroe best at? Running. So this is going to be a huge test for the LSU D-line, their front seven, to contain Jalen Milroe. Now, there's been games like that Jalen Milroe they've taken their legs away, like the Tennessee game, they kind of took his legs away. If you can do that, you'll be able to keep this Bama offense off the field. But if you're not, man, they get really exposed. And you saw what an offense is able to do against this LSU front seven with that kind of running threat. So we'll see how that goes. Another thing you want to look out for here is Bama on the road. Their 2 losses this year have been on the road, and they haven't been all that great on the road in the past few years. This bleeds back to the Saban era as well. So this isn't all on Kalen DeBoer, but Bama on the road is a very different team than Bama at home. And LSU is going to be a raucous environment. Saturday night, this is going to be their biggest game that they've had this year, and it's always going to be crazy for Alabama. And it rattled them a little bit when they were at Tennessee. Dare to say it rattled them at Vanderbilt what their environment was. But this is going to be really tough for them. And with a team in Alabama that struggles on third down, the stadium might be able to get to you. So I'm going to go LSU +3 here. I think they can even pull it out. Follow Big Body Ball on all socials.